Hello, this is Dr. Jessica Pickle, and I want to share with you my grading strategy for this quarter, or my assessment structure, or whatever. Basically, instead of using a traditional grading structure where I have assignments that are worth a set number of points and you earn a percentage of those points based on your performance on the assignment, I'm going to use something that's kind of a hybrid of specifications and labor-based grading. Like a lot of these alternative grading systems, it's my own little homebrew system that works really well for me, and has evolved over the past 2 years and have brought in a lot of student input, and it's been a constant refinement process. It's getting better. So I'd like to share with you how I'm going to assess your grade at the end of the quarter, which is a fun thing that I get to do. So in general, in this grading system, I'm going to not give you a points or percentage of points. I'm going to give you a grade that's either incomplete, complete, or mastery. Like you've mastered these concepts. Yay. And so basically that mastery level grade is a B plus or A minus work. It shows me that you understand the concepts, you can do the calculations, you can tie it all together. There might be some errors, like you can make some small mistakes, like we all do. Like it doesn't have to be perfect, but there's no large gaps in your knowledge. Like there's not a concept that seems to be missing or a large misunderstanding on a topic. Um, and and yeah, that's master. Complete means you have tried to do the entire assignment. You've done a good faith effort. This is like a representation of your understanding right now. And there are gaps in your knowledge, or there is a misunderstanding that is making it difficult to put all the pieces together. And then an incomplete is like you just haven't done it yet, or all of it yet, or you've just done little bits of it. Or you're not really engaging with like like all the answers like seem random and not to the questions. So those are the three grades you can get. Some of the assignments will only be complete or incomplete as well, and I'll talk about that in a minute. In general, in my system, you can revise everything. Like you can try again. For some of the assignments, you can try again and again and again and again and again as much as you want. So for things like homework and group assignments, these are really practice assignments. These are like getting comfortable with the concepts. They're not me assessing your knowledge. So for those, you can revise them as many times as you need to hit my kind of complete benchmark. And these assignments where you have infinite attempts are just graded as complete or incomplete. They each kind of have their own standard for that. And then my lab assignments, problem sets, and the poster project or other projects, these are how I'm really assessing your understanding of the material. And so you'll have one revision on it. And so if you complete a problem set and you get a couple of the problems wrong, and like, really, you just got to like go back and you got to learn about those lattice holes, right? You'll go back and study lattice holes again and look at my feedback, and we can even talk about it. And then you'll revise it and turn it in again. But you only have one chance to do that. And I'm happy to help with that process. So your grade is going to be based on completing assignments and demonstrating that you have mastered the concepts that make up this course. And you're going to do that for a specific set of assignments to hit a specific GPA rather than accumulating points as you go. My hope is that with clear expectations of what mastery level work requires of you with rubrics, that this will actually make the grading criteria simple and straightforward for everybody. I hope that's the goal. So this is kind of my comparison to a traditional grading system, and I won't go through this in detail. You can take a look, but it's kind of like, here's how I used to teach, and here's how I teach now when it comes to assessment. And basically, some of the things that I think are most important here is that these multiple revisions creates this inherent flexibility in the system, especially around deadlines. Like it's hard to have really rigid deadlines if we're going to be able to allow revisions. And so everything is pretty flexible in this class in that sense, especially if you can communicate with me about your needs. It also means that like our grades aren't going to be like this continuous spectrum of grades, right? Like you're not going to earn an 89.5 and freak out if I'm going to like round up or not, right? So instead, there's going to be kind of like these jumps that you can earn, and I have a system to assess it. So you'll earn a GPA, and you can calculate out what that GPA is going to be ahead of time, and kind of min-max your score along the way. But it's going to be kind of more of this incremental options. But no matter what, I'm going to try to give everyone lots of feedback like I always try to. Sometimes your assignment will be perfect and I'll be like, my feedback is that this is perfect and I don't have a lot of ways to improve it. I like what you did here and here. So I want to walk through the types of assignments you have. First, there's introductory assignments. These are just like getting us all on the same page. It's basically completing the Start Here module and then returning your lab kit at the end of the quarter. So you're going to set a goal for your GPA. You're going to make a plan. You're going to do a discussion to introduce yourself. You're going to tell me a little bit about yourself. You're going to participate in an honor code discussion and you'll agree to a class honor code. And you'll do a safety quiz as well for lab. And these need to be done. Please do them by the Thursday of the first week of the quarter. So group assignments are one of our assignments that are graded just as incomplete and complete. And these are going to be weekly, and they're a way to try to connect and bring students together and kind of work on the concepts that we're learning about and build in more support for an online class, which is hard to do. So this quarter, the way group assignments will work is sometimes they'll kind of be assigned partnerships, but we're going to have a more fluid group system than we did in previous quarters if you had me before. And we'll have times that you can join and you can just join a time and then we'll make groups from the people that join and you'll work on an assignment. They're usually discussions or a demonstration or peer review or learning about poster presentations, things like that. I expect they'll take 30 minutes, hour tops. Then we have homework. These are going to be mostly practice problems in Chem 101 or active, whatever it's going to be called. And the idea is to complete these, you'll get an 85 out of 100. The idea is you're just going to keep practicing. Like to learn chemistry, you just have to practice the calculations and like the way the concepts are applied. It's just one of the best ways to learn it. And so that means you're going to have to practice and practice until you can get to about a score of an 85%. And there's 7 of these chapter assignments. One of them in chapter 18 is actually going to be an infographic instead of practice problems. And it'll be graded as complete or incomplete, and it'll have a rubric on what you need to do. And so homework and group assignments, you can revise as many times as you want. You need to complete them or initially complete them or just attempt them before the end of their like unit deadline, but you can keep revising them till the end of the quarter. And they're for practice. Now, the last 3 ones are going to be projects or assignments that are for assessment. And so these you have the 1 revision on. And they're graded differently. They're complete, incomplete, or mastery level. So you can complete something or it could be at a mastery level, which is like A-. So for our labs, you have 6 lab assignments this quarter. 2 of them are actually going to be case study style assignments instead of a hands-on lab. And let's see, 3 of them are going to be online labs and 1 will be hands-on using a lab kit. And for all of these, I would budget always like 4 or 6 hours, kind of depending on how you work in your style. And you can join me on Thursdays in person in Chem, Ollie 300. And I'll be there from 10:45 to 1:05 to just do the lab with you if you want to do it in a more supported environment. All right, then we have problem sets and poster projects. So to earn a 4.0 in the class, you're going to need to build up your grade from this and from kind of my standard base. And so these problem set projects are going to do that for you. They're each worth 0.3 GPA points and are kind of baseline for your grade if you do all the problems, or sorry, all of the group work, homework, and labs is a 3.1. So you need to do 3 of these problem set or poster projects to bring your grade up to a 4.0. And you have 4 options. You can choose 3 that you like. Problem sets will each cover 2 chapters, and they're kind of like take-home exams, I guess. They're harder, challenging problems that try to apply the concepts to real-world situations or synthesize ideas. And they take a little bit of time, maybe 4 or 6 hours or 2 hours. I don't know. Depends how comfortable you are with the material. And then there's a poster project that's also worth 0.3 GPA points. And this is going to be a quarter-long project. It'll have group activities that support it. And you are basically going to research a cool innovation that speaks to you in chemistry and then create a scientific poster. So it's a great way to practice scientific communication skills early in your STEM career. So these are the 4 possible assignments you can have for that. And these are, again, graded incomplete, complete, and mastery. And then I also have just kind of a suite of other projects you could do, or you could develop a project yourself. But if you need a grade bump, essentially, you can earn up to 0.2 GPA points to improve your grade by doing a project that shows how you're applying concepts from the class. And there's lots of different project types, like papers or letters or infographics or presentations or exams. Like we could do a traditional exam. Sounds great. And so you'll just need to communicate with me to make sure that your project is of an appropriate scope, and you have a good plan for it. And sometimes you might need me to write an exam. You can turn these in at any point in the quarter, all the way up to the end. Okay, so those are the projects. And here's our basic grade overview. The grading system assumes you have a 3.1 right now. So everyone's grade is a 3.1 in the class. And as we progress through the quarter and we complete assignments, you maintain that 3.1. So if you do all the group assignments, you complete all of them, you complete all of the homework assignments, and you complete all of the labs. And then you revise your labs with feedback from me, so they're all at a mastery level, you will have earned a 3.1 in the class. Now, as you go through the quarter, if some of those things don't happen, the grade drops. So for each homework assignment that you decide, it's a bad week and I don't have time to make it up, we're just going to skip that one. Your GPA drops 0.1. So if you have a bad week and you don't do a homework assignment, you're at a 3.0. Same with the group assignments. They're each worth 0.1 of your GPA. And so they'll just bump you down as you miss group assignments. If you have a bad week and you can't attend any of the times, you can always make up a group assignment by working with me or a tutor at MAST. So the labs, though, are the really big assessment piece. And so they actually carry the most weight with your GPA. So if you do not complete a lab, you will subtract 0.4 from that 3.1 grade. For each of those lab assignments. If you don't revise it to a mastery level, then you're going to subtract 0.2. So you can pass this class without revising the labs to a mastery level. If you complete all the group assignments, if you complete all of the homeworks, and if you attempt all the labs and complete them, and only revise one of them to a mastery level, you will still pass the class, and you will have a 2.1 in the course. Now, if you want to do better than a 2.1 or a 3.1, you can build your grade up with projects and problem sets and posters, all sorts of things. So each problem set that you get a mastery grade on, you'll get a 0.3 bump in your grade up to like a 3.3 if you do one of them. Same with the poster will take you up 0.3 as well. If you develop a different project on your own, or you use one of my kind of pre-made possible other projects, those will be just a 0.2 bump in your grade. So basically you can kind of be all over the place here, but I like the idea that we all start with a solid B in the class. And you either, based on your performance, that you either end up with a C or you end up with an A, right? And so you can build from here. And I hope this gives you a lot of control of deciding, I don't like this, I'm not going to do it, and I'm going to make up for it by doing these other things instead. And so you don't have to do everything, like that would put you at above a 4.0. So you have choice here is the idea, the hope. Okay, but Canvas isn't going to track this for you at all. It's going to be terrible. It just can't handle it. So I am going to be inputting grades in Canvas, and you'll be able to track your completion of your assignments. For homework and for group activities, it'll look like a check if it's complete and an X if it's not. And then for your labs and your problem sets, your poster, your projects, I use a letter scale. So you'll see I, C, or M. So incomplete, complete, and mastery. And so as you Canvas will track that piece of it. So to calculate your grade, I've created this Excel spreadsheet, and it's formatted. So you just have to input what you got on things, and it'll calculate your GPA in the corner for you. And so you just go in and put a yes if you got a complete on something. And for labs, if you got a mastery grade on it, you just go in and you put a yes. If you didn't do one of those assignments, you would go in and put in a -1 for a group assignment, or a -1 for a homework, or a -4 if you miss a lab. Or if you completed it, you would just put in a -2 for not revising it. If you don't do a lab, it's just -4. It's not -0.4. It's not -0.6. You don't add both. And then at the bottom, as you build up your grade, let's say you complete several problem sets at a mastery level, you'd go in and you'd add that 0.3, and you put a positive +3, or just 0.3. and it'll tally up your GPA. So you can kind of play around with it too. You could be like, well, what if I miss this and this and this, but I do that, that, and that. So it'll kind of help you map out how to get to the GPA that you want. So please use this. And if you need help using this, just let me know and I'm happy to do it too. I will use this same spreadsheet to calculate your grade. So you will have the same tool that I am using in grade calculations. Right. Hopefully that makes sense. It'll probably make more sense after a couple of weeks, and we'll check in at week 4 with my assessment of where your grade's at and make sure that everyone understands how this is working as well.